Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, depending on what time you're watching this. It is Sunday, April 2nd, 2023. It is 2:14 in the morning. Okay, this is part 2 of Promise Me This. He had shared with most of Belfast as she'd been gently pulled from her berth that morning by tugboat so small with names so mighty that the contrast was laughable. To stand on the dock and see her sitting low in the water, her sleek lines lit by electric lights against the cold spring twilight, was a wonder of its own. The idea of stepping onto her polished deck and being paid to do it was joyous beyond anything in Michael's ken. But his Uncle Tom was aboard Titanic in the stoker hole, shoveling coal for her mighty engines. Michael had snuck to the docks to celebrate the parting from his uncle's angry fists and lashing belt as much as he'd come to see Titanic herself. He'd never dared to defend himself against the hateful man twice his size, but Michael surely meant to spit a final goodbye. "Are you coming or not?" the dockhand barked. "Aye." Michael dared the risk and jumped aboard the supply boat, trying for the nimble footing of a sailor rather than the clunky feet of a sweep. Orders were shouted from every direction. Fancy chairs, crates of food, and kitchen supplies were stowed in every conceivable space. Mailbags flew from hands on dock to hands on deck. As soon as the lines were tossed aboard, the supply craft fairly flew through the harbor. Staff of Harland and Wolff, the ship's designers and builders, firemen and yard workers not sailing to Southampton, stood on Titanic's deck, ready to be lightered ashore. The supply boat pulled alongside her. Michael bent his head just in case Uncle Tom was among the sent ashore. Though he figured it unlikely, he hefted the low end of a kitchen crate and followed it aboard Titanic, repeating in his mind the 2 words of the only prayer he remembered: "Sweet Jesus, sweet Jesus, sweet Jesus." "Don't be leaving them there," an authoritarian sort of blue uniform bellowed at the load of chairs set squarely on the deck. "Bring those along to the first-class reception room." Michael dropped the kitchen crate where he stood, sweeping a wicker chair clumsily beneath each arm. He followed the corridor winding trail blazed by the man ahead of him. That's all for part 2 of chapter 1, Promise Me This. Thank you for watching.